Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
It's very good to see you all here again today. Um, I'm going to start very soon in a minute's time. Let's give 1 minute to others to join in. And as you can see the screen, we're going to work on writing today. All right. Well, I guess I've given the 1 minute. Let's get started. And let's see what we have for writing. As usual, just like last previous classes, it's going to be interactive, and anything that I actually want you to give me answers to, please type it in the chat box. Now, what are we going to cover in this lesson? We're going to see a little recap of the previous lesson, which was reading. We did a little bit of reading yesterday. And then we're going to see the format of the test, which is writing. We're going to learn about each part of the writing in details and how to teach writing in class. There will be practice exercises for the candidates and a demo practice test. Okay. Now, from yesterday's class, we're going to have a little recap on the writing, and we're going to do it in a very different interactive way where you will see some words coming up on the screen. And as you see the words, I want you to write a sentence with that word. All right. So the first word coming up is, all right. Now, can you write a sentence with the first set of words? 3 parts, 5 questions. All right, great. Can I have a sentence? How is 3 parts and 5 questions related to writing? Sorry, reading. You have a question with 3 parts. Well, very well done, but there's a little twist with that statement. Not a question, but the reading is in 3 parts. All right. How about the 5 questions? Does that ring a bell to you? Okay. In part 4 plus 5. All right. Yes. Kind of. Any other guesses? Any other try? Okay. Let me give you some ideas. Definitely the fill in the blanks, reordering. Oh, yeah, wonderful. Yes. There are 3 parts which relates to the 3 different task types in the reading. And that is, the first one is definitely, and the last one, oh, wonderful. This question, 3 questions has 5 parts. Wonderful, yes. These 3 question types have got 5 parts. In question number, in the first part, how many tasks do we have? We have 2 tasks to complete, which means we have 2 tasks where we need to fill in the blanks. That is with the first part. And then in the second part, which is text cohesion or text reordering, again we have 2 tasks. That makes it 4 tasks. And the last one is only 1 question. So in total, you have 5 questions. Well tried. Wonderful. Let's look at the next word coming up. Text cohesion. Can you write a sentence with text cohesion related to reading? Okay. If you can't hear anything, please check your microphone because I guess from my end, everything is all right. Rearranging sentences, yes, very good. Question is text cohesion and FET reading. How is it related? Where do you find or which part do you find the text cohesion questions? Wonderful. Yes, in the second part, reordering. All right, indeed. Part, that's questions 2 and 3. Wonderful. Very good. Very good. Let's look at the third word. 25 minutes. How is 25 minutes related to FET reading? All right. Yes, total time for FET reading is 25 minutes. Yes, wonderful. Very good. We do have 25 minutes to complete the whole reading task. Wonderful. I am impressed. All right. Let's look at the next word coming up. Gap fill tasks. All right. To complete 3 parts of the reading task takes 25 minutes. I agree. How about gap fill tasks and FET reading? How is it related, or which part of the FET reading refers to the, all right, yes, wonderful. It's the first part. Very good. Yes, it's the first one. All right, yes. And we have 2 tasks under the gap fill. Yes, it's found in the first part. Wonderful. Right. And the final one coming up, 4 short paragraphs. How is 4 short paragraphs? Part 3, wonderful. Yes, yes, wonderful. Yeah, it's the third part for part 3. I am impressed. Yes, definitely it is. And with that, we have got a little grasp of yesterday's lesson, which is on FET reading. Now, let's continue. In today's lesson, we are looking into writing, and the writing is a total of 27 minutes. Total 27 minutes, where you have 4 parts. For part 1, it consists of writing words and phrases. Part 2 and 3 consist of writing and linking sentences. And part 4, it's a little advanced, that is writing paragraph. So again, the level of difficulty is increasing in this manner. Now, if we look at the first one, the overview of the whole writing test, as we mentioned, it was 25 minutes, and we looked at task 1, which was word level writing. What is word level writing? That means you have you give short written answers to 6 short messages, very, very short answers. And the words would be 1 to 5 for each of the sentence. So basically, we are aiming at simple sentences, just within 5 words. Task 2 is a short text writing, and this will be about a question about yourself. You have to write it down, and you'll have to write about 20 to 30 words. 20 to 30 words meaning 2 to 3 sentences, and that's the short text writing. Part 3 or task 3 is also a short text writing. This is also a short text writing, but it's slightly different from task 2. Here you have to respond to a question about work. In part 2, it was about yourself, but in task 3, it is about work. And again, the word limit is 20 to 30 words. Again, you can aim at writing 2 to 3 sentences. So each sentence would consist about 10 to 12 words, a standard sentence. In task 4, It's the interactive short paragraph writing. Interactive short paragraph writing, and you have to respond to 3 written questions on a single topic. So the topic will be the same, but you will have to answer 3 questions. And the word limit for this is slightly higher, and it is between 30 to 40 words, which means between 3 to 4 sentences. So that's basically the overview of the writing. Now, some of the basics, FET writing basics, we know that there are 4 parts of the test, and it is 27 minutes long. Each task stimulates a relevant real life situation, such as interacting via social media, and all the tests are marked by examiners. The test taker should be allowed enough time to plan what they're going to write and then respond, review, and edit their writing before moving on to the next question. So when you are teaching your students, allow them to respond, think about the writing, think about what they're going to write before they move on to the next question. That is quite important. Now let's look into the first part, where it is required to write words and phrases, just simple words and phrases. So it consists of 5 questions and it needs short answers. I've talked about 6 earlier. The first one is always an example. The questions are general and asks about yourself. And this part of the test assesses the candidate to A1 level, just the basic A1 level. For this part of the test, you are not expected to write complex sentences. Rather, you have to focus on simple sentences, and individual words are also fine. So there are 2 types of things that you need to focus on here, which is either complex sentences. Your session is muted. I cannot hear anything. Is it definitely muted, or the others, can you hear me? None of you can, I can hear, okay. Of course, so check your microphone. If you can't hear me, please check your microphone. All right, the others can hear me. The others can hear me. So, yeah, okay, thank you. Thank you for confirmation. If you can hear me, if those who can't hear me, please check your microphone, because from my end, everything is all right from my end. There is no problem from my end. So please check your microphone, and there should be some problem at your end. Okay, so let's continue. For this part of the test, you're not expected to write complex sentences, but rather simple sentences. Simple sentences are encouraged in this first part of the test, and the individual words are also encouraged. Now, you'll be asked to write how many words? Between 1 to 5 words. So don't write more than that. When the instruction says something, we'll have to stick to the instruction. And that is very important. Now, in this task 1, what happens is yes, do you want to say something?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes,
go
ma'am.
on.
When you're showing the, in first slide, I've seen that like no more than 5 words in each sentences. So it would be in each sentences, we cannot use more than 5 words, or in total, we cannot use 5 words in part 1 question.
In each sentence. I'm talking about each sentences. All right.
Okay. So it wasn't there.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I'm going to go elaborately on this. So just bear up with me. And as I was mentioning, in this part 1, there are 6 short messages, and which are asked to give simple information in the form of short written answers. The first one is always an example. So you have to answer the next 5 messages. So the next 5 messages would look like what's coming up on the screen right now. And you can see these are very basic ones where you have to write simple answers. For example is given, how are you? And the answer is, I'm fine, thanks. So how many words would you count for here? You have, this is a contracted one. We count it as 1, 2, 3. Good enough. Within 5 words. That's it. So can we give it a try? If I want to ask you, what's your favorite food? Can you very quickly write a sentence within 5 words in the chat box, and let's see if you're within the limit. What's your favorite food? Okay, yes. My favorite food is noodles, 5 words. Yes, food is rice. Exactly. So you see the 5 words are coming in very nicely. What about the next one? What do you like doing on a holiday? Even one word is okay. For this part, one word answer or just the name of the foods are okay. My favorite food is pies. My favorite food is rice. Yes, all within 5 words. Very good. If we look, all right, during next one. What do you like during holiday? I just sleep. Very good. 5 words. I like to read 5 words, hang around with my friends, 5 words. All right, read books. All right, wonderful. 5 words. So that is what is important during read books, hang around with my friends, going to visit landslide. Wow, very interesting. 4 words, but it is within the word range. Very interesting, yes. And what's your favorite drink over here? What can one word is all right. That's fine. Coffee is my favorite drink. Yes, that's 5 words. Definitely. You can go ahead with that or simply write the word. Yeah, chocolate coffee. That's even accepted. 2 words. That is within the limit. All right, Sprite. Good. Fond of tea. That's good vocabulary. Tea is my favorite. All right. Yes, very good. I travel and shoot blog videos. This is quite too long for 5 words. It's exceeding that, right? So we should focus on the 5 word answers. And the next one, when do you usually eat lunch? Over here, you can simply have one word answer or a sentence around 2. Okay, I usually do 2 p.m. We have to look, all right, yes. We shortcut. We know that we cannot use shortcut words like wouldn't, shouldn't in IELTS writing. It is allowed here. Look at the example. In the example, it's contracted. Am, fine. So this is allowed. The contracted words, not the SMS language, but the contractions are allowed here in this first part. All right. So that is something you should keep into your, you should keep a note of. I eat lunch at around 2 p.m. Now this is more than 5 words. So we should think about that. We have to be within at 2 p.m. That's perfectly okay. Yeah. All right. So between 1 and 2, that's yes, even within the range. So you have to have it within the range. And the final one, how often do you use public transport? 1 day per week. That's perfect. Usually have lunch 1 day per week. Very interesting. Very health conscious, or what would I say? Anyway, I use it quite often. All right, public transport. Yes, very good. 5 words. How often do you use more than 2 times? Yes, good, perfect, very good. Often, very good. Yes. So in the first part, in this task one word answer, 2 word answer, standing independently. The words like often stands independently, very often stands independently. They are encouraged. They can be taken as answers or a
Ma'am,
sentence.
could I ask one question?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, ma'am. The recommended time is only 3 minutes. We have to complete one, two, three, four, five, 6 questions on 3 minutes, right?
5 questions.
5 questions on 3 minutes.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right. Now you have got a hang of the first part. Let's move on to a little bit of information about first part answer. That you have given me your answers. So we need to balance our answers, our replies, so that they sound natural. For example, if the question is, how are you? And the response is, I'm feeling wonderful. Thank you very much. And how are you? This sentence is too long. Now, if we look at the second response, fine, that's okay, but the sentence is rather short and sometimes sounds rude. So, if you say, I'm fine, thanks, that sentence achieves the task. So, individual words are accepted, but you have to be a little careful. The focus on this section is only on communication, how you can actually take the message across to the person. And that is what this part is focusing on. Now, some basic information, personal information. Remember, the first letter and the first name and the last name are usually written with capital letters. So let's focus on that. A little bit of punctuation. If you have to write something about months, again, that is with the capital, starts with the capital letter. Languages starts with capital letter. Hobbies and interest, it should be related to the general topic of your writing. So if you need to write anything about your hobbies or interests, you should focus on the question and go about it. For example, if you're enrolling for a travel club, you wouldn't list hobbies and interests about playing football because it's a travel club, isn't it? Would you? All right. So that's some basic information that is given across to you. Now let's look at how we can teach part one in class. Can you think of different strategies you can use to teach students how to answer personal question within 5 words? Very quickly, if you write it in the chat box, what different strategies? Because our focus is to teach students. So what strategies can you use to teach students about part one, task one, answering questions? First, read the question, focus on, okay, yes, that's very important. Very good, I like that. And focus on what you need to answer, yeah. Understand the question. That is also very important. I like that one as well. Very, very important. The candidates need to understand what they have to be answering for. All right. Anything else? Give them knowledge on short answer. Of course, that's important. Focus on general topics and practice simple short answer questions, drilling with total physical. Wow, that is very, very drilling with physical response. That is a very nice way of teaching. If you can practice that, if you can have that in the class, yes, very good. I appreciate that. Drilling with physical response. Focus on general topics. Yes, give them a list of general topics. Simple sentences, they can answer the main point, yes. Identify the main topic of the question, definitely, definitely. And simple sentences. Give them idea about simple sentences. And that is very important. Once they know how to write in simple sentences, then the personalized topics could come in and they could give simple answers. I like your strategies. Now, let's look at practice makes man perfect. They have to practice on life related. Okay. Answer shouldn't be too short or too long. Definitely within 5 words. That is what you have to emphasize. And simple sentences. So, first thing is keep it simple. Very, very important. And check for understanding. You did tell me that. Give them common topic questions to practice, of course. You need to check for the understanding. Few sample tests, definitely. They need to go through sample tests, and that would be very effective. check for the understanding. Vocabulary is all right, yes, but these are very simple vocabulary, but give it to them. A very simple vocabulary is a very important thing as well. Lots of time to practice. That's another thing. Lots of time to practice. Try to show and not tell. Like if you are trying to get something out from your candidates, try to show how you can get it out and not tell them. So that's important. Use positive reinforcement. That is important. Don't demotivate them. Always be positive and let them come out with something. So there are some questions for practice. If I just take you to a list of questions where they can practice from this website, like what is your name, and then my name is. So this is about names, and do you have a nickname? Under work and occupation, again, we have short questions and sample answers. Marital status, you can do that. Family, do you have any children? All right, so you can, yeah, give them a group work to practice. Definitely just choose from any of those lists. How old are you? Like, when is your birthday? When were you born? These are all short, simple answers which you can practice with your candidates in class. Like, where are you from? I'm from, and what's your address? What's your phone number? So these are all very short responses within 5 words. My phone number is, and then the number. What is your cell? That is again 5 words within 5 words. Do you live with your parents? Free time activities, like what are your hobbies? My hobbies are, maybe list 2 of the hobbies: reading, writing. All right. What type of music do you like? What type of movies do you like? So there are even yes or no answers, but that hardly counts. Under habits, like do you have any bad habit? Do you snore? Do you smoke? We have other personal information, like what is your favorite food? That's what we saw on the screen. Favorite color. Why do you want to learn languages? Some of the responses are more than 5 words, so you can keep those. This website gives you a range of questions that you can practice from. So skip the answers that are more than 5 words and focus on the answers which are within 5 words. What pets do you have? Maybe I have a cat and dog. What are their names? What sports do you like? Is there something that you do not do well? So I'm bad at, maybe I'm bad at cooking. All right. So describe yourself with only 2 words. I am this and that. You just give it to them. 5 words, within 5 words. What makes you happy? I'm happy when, and then come up with a word. So a list of a lot of activities you can practice with them. So this is a very, very informative website where you can just pick different topics and have a group work, and or you just have a pair work and have it with them. All right. Okay, now let's move on. And that's the website. Writing and make writing fun. So how can you make the first part fun? We can have a classroom activity like finger correction. This is called finger correction, which is you give a number of words to the student, and in group, the students make sentences with those words. If the sentences are correct, you can show your thumb finger. Use fingers to signal how many mistakes there are in the sentence. If there are 2 mistakes, maybe the teacher holds up 2 fingers. 5 mistakes, the teacher holds up 5 fingers. And in a way, they are learning how to make simple sentences with words. And this could be a group work. So finger correction is a very effective way to make them understand the first part. Another one is running dictation, where what you do is write sentences on slips of paper, or maybe a paper and number them and post them around the room. Maybe use glue tag and put it on the walls or around the room. And there would be, it's a pair work, two students together. So one of the students will be a runner who would run up to the paper, read the sentence, and come back to the friend or the partner who will be sitting down and writing what this partner tells him. So the runner runs to the wall, reads a sentence, keeps it in the head, and comes back to tell the student who is sitting down who writes it down. So in return, they tell their group to write it down. So the first, it could be a group work or it could be a pair work. The first group to write all the sentences correctly wins. And it's a very fun game where students can actually engage themselves in learning simple sentences very effectively. And another way to make it fun is correct the sentence mistakes. That is, show or give students wrong sentences. So when you give them wrong sentences, the students might write those sentences correctly before the timer runs out. So it is a timed activity, and if they do it, their team gets a point. And this also is a very effective way to teach them simple sentences. So these three games are, or these three activities are really for beginners who have hardly any knowledge about sentence construction. So, or even those who have a little bit knowledge about sentence construction and you want to reinforce that on them, you can use one of these activities for them to for your class, and it will be very effective. Now, in the first part, what does it assess? It assesses A1 level. And A1 level, this is where they can give information in writing about personal relevances like likes, dislikes. And we saw a list of questions about family, pets, and other things by using the simple words and the basic expressions. So you can write simple isolated phrases and sentences, and this level is always targeted at writing the word and the phrase level. All right. Now, short answers are enough to give meaningful response. Spelling mistakes are not penalized in this part. So you see, this part is a little flexible for all the candidates. Even if there are few spelling mistakes, those will not be penalized. All right. And the marking scale, this full task fulfillment and communicative competence. Over here, it is above A1. If you are scoring them above A1, which is the responses will be fully intelligible and for all the 5 questions, and the candidate completely achieves this task. That is, when that is done, the candidate would receive A1. It would be above A1. If it is A1.2, which is 3 or 4 of the responses are intelligible, errors impede understanding in 1 or 2 of the response. That is where maybe the words are not put in the right place, so word order is wrong or it is not understandable. That is where they go for A1.2. And the basic A1.1, where only 1 or 2 of the responses are intelligible and errors impede understanding in 2 or 3 responses. So the marking scale is very defined for the writing, and A0, that is, none of the responses are, you can't understand any of those responses. So very detailed over here. So 1 or 2 of the correct answers will be A1.1. 3 or 4 of them will be A2.2, and all 5, which will be intelligible, which will be understandable, will be above A1. All right. Now, looking at the different websites, we encourage learners to maintain a vocabulary notebook so they get the everyday topic words on work, family, hobbies, and then I'm going to take you through that, some vocabulary games. filling out a form, personal information. This is what I'm like going to take you through. And I showed you this. This is an app which they can install on their mobile. I showed that to you yesterday, so I'm not going to go into that. Let's look into filling out personal information, and that really helps. Filling out personal information. Okay, student application card. Again, over here, the instruction says you need to do the preparation exercise first and then the other exercise. So this is the preparation exercise that the candidates need to go through before they go to the actual reading. And the reading is on International Student Card application. So what is the preparation exercise? The preparation exercise says, what information do you write on the application form? So you have to tick all the important things that you need to write on the application form. Is it going to be a name, date of birth, time of the day, weather? I think we should write the name. On the application form, we should have the date of birth, time of the day, not important, weather, not important, address, oh yes, phone number, oh yes, and favorite color, not important. So that's something you need to give the idea to your candidates. Like if they're filling out an application form, what should be there and what shouldn't be there. So very, very important. And when it's there, you click on finish and gives you a feedback. That is 4 out of 4, which is 100%. After doing the preparation task, you go into the main reading. And the reading is about International Student Card application, where if see the first name, the picture of the person is given, the last name is given, place of study, mobile number, email address, nationality, and the date of birth. And then a declaration that the information provided in full is full and correct. And then the signature and the date of application. Now, as a registrar or the principal, certifying that the information is correct and the applicant is registered at the campus and school. So the principal's signature is given with the date. And then a little information at the bottom. The card will be issued within 30 days of application date and will be sent to your home address. After looking or after going through the main reading task, this is the main reading task. And on that main reading task, you have two sets of questions, true or false, and is Bartha. This is a application for Bartha. Yes. So answer with true and false. Is Bartha a student? Yes or no? True or false? Was she born in 1997? Is she British? Does she live in Madrid? So simply true and false. And after you've done that, you click on finish and you get the answer. The next activity would be fill in the blanks. So you actually fill in the gap. All this information is in the reading. You just take it from there and just put it into the different books, and that's it. So over here, if one wants, you can have this exercise this as a PDF and print it out. If you don't have enough internet or enough PCs for the application candidates to work on, you can actually have it on the PDF format, print it out, and give it to them to do the work. So you see all the things that you see on the website can be downloaded. The application, the answers are there, application form, and the writing practice. The writing practice, if you have a look, see, you can actually print this out, give it to them, and then they write looking at the, or, you know, just have a look at the main thing and take it away from them, and they write the information here, or they can do it for themselves. So that gives them a very nice practice. So all the different ways, all the different materials are them to practice. And this is very important. There is another application. We will look into that. This is the library card application form, but we will look into that eventually. So that is about part 1. And we will be moving into part 2. For part 2, it is going to be on writing links and writing and linking sentences together, right? So this part 2, the test taker reads the question and the example. Example is you want to join an online training course. And to register, you have to answer 2 questions about yourself. You have to write in complete sentences using 20 to 30 words, which means between 2 to 3 sentences. Give your candidates the idea that 20 to 30 words means 2 to 3 sentences. So the writing task 2, the information is your new friend asks you to join an online group about jobs and work. To register, you have to answer 2 questions. The first question A is about yourself, and you have to write in complete sentences, and the time allowed, recommended time is 7 minutes. 7 minutes to write 2 sentences, 2 to 3 sentences. So the first one is, can you describe your home? Can you describe your home? Can you come up with 2 sentences in the chat box? How can you describe your home? So, okay, I'm sure you're all right. Yes, wonderful. It's coming up. The first one, I have a smart home as I live. As I have a big family, there are 5 rooms, a beautiful garden near my home. Yes, wonderful. That could be it. My home is located in the rustic area, which is full of natural elements. Also, I decorated my home in accordance of my own choice. Wow. This language, if you can teach that to your candidates, I would be impressed, because rustic is not a common vocabulary for them. Natural elements, okay. That's also not a very common vocabulary. In accordance of my choice, that's a high level vocabulary. So if your candidates are of that level, I am really impressed. Or if you can teach them up to that level, I'm really, really impressed. Every man is live in his home. I'm also live in my home. My home is a piece of heaven for me. We live all members in one home. Wonderful. You can give, what happens in this response is the message is there. Message is there, but there is a little fine tuning that needs to be done. And you have about 3 sentences. We just have to be careful that it doesn't exceed 30 words. All right, it's a peaceful, well decorated. I feel really happy in my home as it has lots of plant in the balcony and also a few birds. Wonderful, yes, that's okay. That's a nice answer. Now the best part is at the bottom here on the right hand side, there is the word count. So if you have more than 30 words, it will not take it. That's the other thing. My home is situated in Kumilla at Katabil. There are 6 rooms in my home. Yeah, that's a very nice, simple sentence. There are a garden in front of my home. Yes, that's a very important information. Very good. So that is how you actually teach them 2 to 3 information in 2 to 3 sentences, and that is how you go about it, but not exceeding 30 words. And the word count will be shown at the bottom here. So if you are writing more than 30 words, you cannot type it in. Very important. So the next talks are, all right, I live in a tiny apartment as I am a poor guy. That's why I can't afford to live in a big house. So there is nothing special to mention. Well, it's asking about your home. So you can talk about the little place you are staying in, the tiny apartment you're staying in. Maybe you have one room or something. That's perfectly okay. Um, it says recommend time. Does it mean we could take more than 7 minutes, or the opposite, finishes within 5 minutes? What happens? Does this time? Okay, no, the time doesn't add up. You have to finish within 7 minutes. If you finish earlier, you can click on next and go to the next question. But if it is more than 7 minutes, you cannot write any more on that particular response. So that is the maximum time allowed to write 20 to 30 words. I hope that answers your question. My home is cozy, haven't within a charming exterior, comfy living room, well-equipped kitchen, bedrooms reflect individual style, backyard offers chill place for gatherings and making memories. Wow, that has a lot of advanced vocabulary like charming exterior, well-equipped kitchen. If you can teach those to your candidates, I would be more than happy to train you as well. So if that's all right, but we have to be careful that it doesn't exceed 30 words. Okay. Not natural. I have an apartment. I have 4 rooms. I have decorated my home as per our reference. We also paint, okay, very good, with our favorite color. That could be a nice response to teach your candidate. That's very, very important. Now we have answered, we have looked into the first part of writing, that's the task 2. Now task 3. Task 3 is also similar to task 2, but the difference over here is about your work. So the task 3 will focus about your work, and you have to write in complete sentences using 20 to 30 words. Now, when the instruction says complete sentences, important part is your sentence should start with a capital letter and finish with a full stop. That is quite important, and that is a complete sentence. Definitely, it should have a verb, subject, object. Those are there. Those are definitely there. But starting a sentence with a capital letter is very, very important. Now, let's look at an example. What new things do you want to learn at work? And the test taker then writes a short text about 20 to 30 words in response to the question. That is how it is. So the writing task, this is the screen that you will see. In part 3, the instruction will be given to you. A new friend asks you to join an online group about jobs and work, and then you have to answer 2 questions. Now the second question, B, is about work, and you have to write complete sentences. Again, the recommended time for this particular part is 7 minutes. To write 2-3 sentences, 7 minutes. And the previous one, again, that was 7 minutes. I particularly enjoy working in a team environment and learned a lot by collaborating with other members. The challenge of solving complex problems as well. Wonderful. That's a very, very well-developed answer. To the question, what kind of work do you enjoy doing? Very, very nicely structured answer. And if you can teach how to write, you can teach your candidates how to come up with an answer like this, I would be more than happy. I would say yes, you have given them enough training to do that. And you have written 2 sentences, and I'm sure it is within the 30-word limit range. So I'm sure the others will give you just 1 minute. What if others are writing? What kind of work do you enjoy doing? Okay, another response, freelance work. It doesn't even feel like work because I do it in my own time and nobody is there to boss me around. Okay, now if your candidates do know what the meaning of freelance work, well done, you've taught them something very high level thing, and then what follows is perfectly okay. So you need to train your candidates. So every focus is on your candidates, how you're going giving it to them. The responses that you're providing here are very, very well structured. It's up to standard, and yes, it could be part of the answer. Very nicely structured. Now, if I move up, and if we are looking at a sample answer to part 3, the question is, what kind of work do you enjoy doing? That was the question. And the sample answer, another response coming in, let me read that. I enjoy various works such as gardening, reading, cooking, and so on. Especially, I like doing my job, and that is teaching that's a very, very well structured answer with 2 sentences. Yes, and you can very well teach that to your student. I really like that because I believe if they're of that level, they can easily grasp it. Now, as the response from my end here, like I deal with customers and it is the most important part of my work. Moreover, I understand the products we sell to help customers. I am polite and I smile, polite and smile always. So the 30 words again. Another one, various kinds of works I have to do in my life, but if I have to mention, I love doing, one second, I love doing nothing. Okay, could be answer, yes, not bad. I love teaching because it's so much fun. Helping students learn new things, seeing them understand makes me happy. Like it's like playing and learning together. Very good, very nice. If you can get that across to your candidates, I would be very happy because that is where they have to type their answers in. Another one coming in, I enjoy doing my house chores. Besides that, I like to listen to music, read novels, but especially when it comes about teaching something, then I try to make them confident enough to respond and answer to it. But okay, all right, very nice. Very nice. So you're very much on track. You know what the second part and the third part entails. It is the answer between 20 to 30 words. And that 20 to 30 words would be 2 to 3 sentences. Wonderful. Very good. Now, let's look at the marking parts. Over here, the vocabulary assessment comes in. That means that you have to choose words appropriate for the level. For this particular level, yes. Paraphrasing. If the candidates know how to paraphrase the answers, this will help because if they're not sure to use the same words and the sentence structures, because they might lose mark. So paraphrasing will help you answer the question, but if you're not sure, but if you use the same words and the sentence structures, because you'll lose mark. Okay, for example, please tell us why you are interested in traveling. And the paraphrase is, traveling has been a great love of mine and because, and continue. Not like I'm interested in traveling because this is coming from the question, why you're interested in traveling. So at this stage, we have to encourage students to paraphrase rather than copy the question words. Grammar. This question is looking for simple grammatical structures to produce writing at sentence level and cohesion. Your responses should be around 2 to 3 sentences. That's what I have been saying. And your answer needs to be cohesive. And you might use 1 or 2 linking words. So the marking over here is basically focusing on vocabulary, the paraphrasing part, the grammar part, and the cohesion part. So all these things are coming in for the part 2 and 3, which was not there in part 1. So that is what we need to focus on when we are teaching our candidates. Now, an example task, definitely between 20 to 30 words. The important aspect is staying on the topic, using accurate grammar, spelling, punctuation. Everything is looked into this part. In other words, you make sure that you answer the question and try not to make mistakes, because this is a sentence level writing. It's not simple sentences. Now, for tasks 2 and 3, questions are simple to answer, but you should not just use simple sentences. You can use complex sentences and interesting vocabulary, but again, think about the word limit. Do not go over the word limit. The computer will not even allow you to go over the word limit. Once you start typing it above 30 words, that's it. It's not going to take in any more of your words. So that is important. You stay within the word limit. Very, very important. And how can you teach these 2 parts? What strategies can you use to teach students about short text writing? Can I hear that from you? Can you type that in the text box? Okay. What different strategies? Yes, practicing grammar and vocabulary. Very good. Yes, they do need to practice grammar and vocabulary extensively. Daily real activity. Yes, different vocabulary and synonyms. That's very important. If you can teach them synonyms and sometimes synonyms, that is very important because that's going to aid them writing. Yes, very important. Very nice. Those are the different strategies you can use. All right, let's using different vocabulary and synonyms. Answer directly and understand the question. Of course, they do need to answer the question, understand the question, and then answer it. At first, realize the situation that you're answering and first realize the situation and then you should do the writing part. Okay, reading all the sentences, attentive to the connectors, because think about new ideas. Yeah, they need to be attentive about the connectors, and they need to think about new ideas as well. Focus on understanding. Again, that is very important. um, Focus on understanding question, then answer paraphrasing the question. So you need to teach them paraphrasing as well. Mention the required answer using various sentence structures and vocabulary. Yes, of course. Be attentive to the given time and word limit. Of course, those are certain things you need to make them aware of. Very important, because in these 2 parts, 2 and 3, all these are very, very important. I'm impressed that you are with me and you're on the same level. So we have to teach them to use simpler words and phrases, minimize the number of negatives in a sentence. Linker in a sentence using linker, yes. Rewrite the question using phrases, very good. That is teaching them paraphrases. In other words, make sure they answer the question and not make mistakes, of course. Again, I have a point here. teach them to minimize the number of negatives in a sentence. Let them have the sentences in a positive way, in an affirmative way. Write short, simple, and compound sentences, and sometimes complex sentences. The most important terms of the contents word should be consistent. The balance of simple and sophisticated language, that is vocabulary, that should be paid attention to. And then the following website. Let's look at a website, teachenglish.com writing. And this website will show you a number of, in other words, okay, this website is showing you a number of level writing. We have A1 writing exercise and test. We have A2 writing exercise, B1 writing exercise and text. So there are many. There is B1 plus, B2, but our target is on the first three, A1, A2, and B1. So let's look at the one in the middle, pre-intermediate writing, that's A2 writing. So if we click on that, it gives you different exercises on pre-intermediate writing. You see the different exercises coming up. Writing response to a informal email invitation, writing essay about someone's job, last holiday writing, how to write application, how to write email. So if we just look into one, maybe the first one, informal email application, responding. So let's have a look. There are 2 pages. We need to choose the correct option to complete each of the sentences. That's the first phrase, like, would you like, what would be the correct form of the verb? Is it joining us, join us, to join? What is it going to be? Okay, to join, exactly. Would you like to join us? And then we might dash to the island. Again, this is teaching them the grammar part. We might dash to the island. I'll let you know tomorrow. Is it going to be I'll letting, and there are a number of exercises. Okay, yes, same, right, let. All right, if we are interested, if we go for swim, and then I'll let you know tomorrow. Emma and I are around India this summer. Emma and I are traveling, are traveling around India. Okay. I am dash forward to the party. I am looking, might. All right, I'm looking forward to the party. And then you go on to the next page. So you have a little bit of idea on the grammar part. And then you move on to the next page to have a little bit of more grammar. So this is the exercises. And then the explanation comes in. The explanation of writing and responding. So you see, that is how you can start and how you can start and end an informal email talking about your future plan. So this website is going to take you through all that bit. And then the final part, you can download that. You can download the whole thing and work on it as an exercise. So this is how you can go ahead with the different parts, teaching your candidates about the different things. Now, let's move on with this. How we taught parts 2 and 3 to the candidates. Now, activities to teach parts 2 and 3. One of the activities to teach short text could be topics from a hat. That is, you as teachers or tutors, you have to get ready a range of questions to pick from, a range of questions that you have to gather. Of course, the website address where you can practice, I have it, everything on this place. You will all get it. Don't worry. You will get all the resources that I am showing you. Now, so one of the activities you can do with your candidate in class is topics from a hat. You take a range of questions and put it in a bag or put it in a box and the student picks up one of them and writes answer 20 to 30 word answer. And it can be done or in the class. For every student, you might have a question. We can have another activity for them to teach short text, and that's what's the question. So you make a question for each topic, and each question has to be specific with a single answer. Maybe the topic would be given, or you can even say, all right, the topic is travel, and you tell one of the candidates to come up with the proper question on travel, and then the friend writes the answer. And vice versa, change the topic, could be food, and the friend writes the question, asks the question, and the first person writes the answer. So it could be done in either way around. That could be another activity. Find your dream job. That's especially for part 3. Over here in pairs, students ask each other, do you want questions like, do you want to be an engineer? Do you want to be a teacher? Do you want to be the president? And based on that, the students write a response of 20 to 30 words. This is another way of practicing part 3. So these are the 3 different activities you can practice in class and reinforce the way the students come up with answers. And after they come up with answers, you can have a peer checking part where one of the candidates can check the other person's question and, come up with the feedback like, okay, my friend doesn't have any mistake, or my friend has this mistake, and talks that with the friend. And then there's a peer checking, and that helps in developing their ways of writing sentences. For parts 2 and 3, writing and linking sentences, the CEFR level is pre-intermediate A2, where candidates can write series of simple phrases and sentences linked with connectors, simple connectors like and, but, because. And the key skills, short written descriptions of concrete personal information at sentence level. That is what is being looked at for parts 2 and parts 3. Now, some of the linking words, linking sentences, what should you consider? What is this task doing? In other words, what's the task trying to test? The task is trying to test the relevance. The topic relevance. Is the response relevant to the topic which the candidate is writing on? Sentence formation. Are the word orders in the right place? Or is the sentence constructed properly? Are they using more of simple sentences, or they are using a mixture of simple and compound sentences, or sometimes complex sentences? Use of connectors. How are they using connectors? Are they using it meaningfully to link sentences, or are they just using the connectors at random without much meaning? So that is very, very looked into. Punctuation and spelling. It's very, very much looked into, which was not a part in tax 1. In tax 1, punctuation and spelling was not very important, but for these 2 parts, it is extremely important, and the candidates would be penalized if they are not using the correct punctuation and not having the correct spelling. Now, the grammatical structures, that is also being looked into. Very important. You have to write sentences with correct grammar. Otherwise, marking would be done that way. Now, what's the genre? The genre is form filling, providing personal details in context of work, which is especially in part 3. And the targeted functions, describing people, places, jobs, describing likes and dislikes, describing habits, routines, past experiences. So these are all based on British Council equals inventory. All right. Now, looking into the marking scale, since it is marking pre-intermediate or higher, they're looking into task fulfillment and communicative competence. Now, in the lower part, the elementary part, we have response limited to a few words or phrases, or in the elementary, upper elementary part, not fully on the topic. Grammatical structure is limited to words and phrases. Basic errors in the pattern or sentences. If those happens, then the candidate is given upper elementary marking, A 1.2. Even vocabulary is very limited to basic words related to personal information and not sufficient to respond the question. These are the factors which will determine if a student is upper elementary. If the student is pre-intermediate 1, that means they're staying on the topic. They're using simple grammatical structure to provide writing at sentence level. The basic errors would be common, but errors impede understanding parts of the response. Right. Punctuation, spelling mistakes are noticeable. Vocabulary is mostly sufficient to respond to the question, but inappropriate lexical choices. Response is the list of sentence with no connectors or cohesive devices. So if all these factors are present in the writing, the person gets pre-intermediate 1 level. For a pre-intermediate 2 level, that is the top writing is on topic, uses simple grammatical structures to produce writing at sentence level. Errors with basic structures are common. Errors do not impede understanding of the response, and most accurately, punctuation and spelling. Vocabulary is sufficient to respond to the questions, and some attempts at using simple connectors and cohesive device to link sentences. So if all these are present in the writing, then the candidate is the upper pre-intermediate or likely to be a B1. If it is exceeding all this part, then the candidate is response would be B1 level. All right. So that is about the marking scale. And then we're looking into, again, filling in a form, what happens at the library, an article to show learners using linking expressions and creative ways to give feedback to teach peer, give feedback and teach peer assessment. So I'm going to go through a few of these, not all. I'm going to go through a library part, application form, how they can write an application. Again, going into the preparation tasks. And in the preparation tasks, we've done this for the other one. So the reading text is a library card application where you have name, last name, date of birth, address, postcode, phone number, and then the declaration that everything is correct with the signature and the date. Now your checklist. Have you got everything you need? Have you got a passport photo? Have you got a copy of the passport or other photo ID, proof of address? And the card will be issued within 15 days. Now, some of the tips. Now, all these are part of the reading. All these are up to the tips. All these are part of the reading. And then there are 3 tasks there. The first task is a true or false thing. And then in the second task, we have the application form where you have to fill in with the correct name and address and postcode. This is pretty straightforward. If we go into the first name, it will go just going to be Claire. Last name, definitely. And then the date of birth, if you have a look up here, this is definitely going to be the date of birth. Address looks like that. Postcode, all right, there it is. The phone number, click on that and click on the right space. And then finally the email address, and you finish. When you finish, it gives you a feedback of how much you got. You got 7 out of 7, which is 100%. And that encourages the candidate to go ahead for the next task. And task 3. Task 3 will be with the details. So 2 sentences are given. 3 sentences rather. My name is Jane Short. I was born on 26th May, and where they live, my postcode, mobile number, email address. And again, from this particular information, you need to extract the content words, like first name, what is it? And then type that in. And then the next one, last name, what is it? Type that in. So you have to, the candidate gets a practice of the keyboards as well, so that they type in their answers and then click on finish and get the correct. So if you want to download the worksheet, that's also possible. You just click on this and download it. And that will help the candidates to do it on pen and paper. Just showing it to you. The whole thing that we saw, preparation talks, the writing, reading, after that you need to write it down. Everything that we did up here, you with the answers, of course, is given as the attachment. So that is also possible. The resources are very useful and you can try that. Very, very important. Okay, we just looked into this. And the next one is the library card. Again, instructions, do the preparation task, and in the look at the reading part. A library card. How does a library card look like? And then you check your understanding of true false. Check your understanding of gap fill. And after doing that, you can try another one. Again, there is a list of worksheets down you can download and practice. And the writing practice part of this worksheet is really very useful, because if you have an option of printing, you can print it out and the candidates can personalize this as their own. And that will be a very nice writing practice. So that is very, very important. You can do that with your candidate. All right. Now, the expression, how to help English learners use linking expression. This article will give you an idea about what to tell your candidates, like what's the importance of coherence, and the highlights, like introducing linking and signposting expressions. What is this? Introducing the context, making a roadmap, minding the gap, order please. So you can go through this particular website, and that's for your knowledge as teachers, as tutors, and have gathered all this knowledge about how to use the linking words and how to use the expressions for your candidates. And then we have the podcast. This is okay. This is for the next one. Now, that's about part 2, and then we have it for part 3 as well. For part 3, expressing opinions, what to do when you can't remember a word. That's very important. What do you do when in writing you can't remember a word? Some common workplace topics and vocabularies, and challenging someone's ideas. So let's have a look at that. Let's go back and see. This is some of the podcasts. You choose a podcast, and then maybe line management, and click on that. Again, the exercise comes up to you. Now, for the podcast, you listen to it, the transcript is given, and you work on the task. For example, this is a 2 minute 37 seconds workshop. Yeah, Learn English British Council is a very, that's the website we are working on. This is the very, very nice important podcast which you can use. Maybe use the audio over here.
Hello and welcome to this Learn English Professionals recording, brought to you by the British Council.
Before change, there must be analysis. Organisational change is a costly and difficult business, and there must be a real business need reason in order to change current practice. Typically, changes are attempts to reach new markets, to improve productivity, or to cope with drastically reduced funding. A good analyst will identify the key problem. Once it's clear what change is required, a change strategy has to be developed. In other words, somebody needs to say what should be done. Sometimes the idea will come from a visionary within the company, perhaps an imaginative and persuasive member of the management team. Otherwise, the company might bring in a consultant to help them find the right solution. Either way, management should also consult with staff at this stage. There should be meetings to help raise awareness for the need for change.
So you see, this is a high-level podcast which would help you concentrate on the different tasks like true and false. And then we have another task, which is put the words in the correct form sentences. So this can also be used in your class as a resource. So you can talk about the different kinds of changes that you have experienced where you work. So that is very important. The transcript is given. The transcript is not given on the exam day. This is all for practice in class. And this I'm referring this to a writing part because this is a listening one, but you can use it as a writing resource to teach students on the third part of the question, which was on work. So that is why I brought you here. And how you can answer questions on work, how you can have vocabularies on work. That is why you can that is how you can use these resources for part 3. And then we have another resource here, social media post, and how to write and comment on social media posts. This is coming up for the next one. So all this is have actually for teaching students in class. So when you have a listening audio, the transcript will not be given to you. Now let's look into the part 4 of writing, which is writing paragraph. In the part 4, at the start of part 4, the test taker reads instructions that gives them information about the situation and tells them what they can do. For example, you have to answer 3 questions from other people in an online training course. Okay, answer their questions using sentences. Again, over here, the sentence is a little bit longer because you have to go between 30 to 40 words for each of the answer, not more than 40 words. The other two was a range of 20 to 30, but this last one is between 30 to 40. So look at the sample question. In part 4, you have to answer 3 questions from other people in an online group about jobs and work. Answer the question using sentences and use 30 to 40 words for each answer. And remember, answer all 3 questions. Recommended time 10 minutes. Now this 10 minutes is for you to answer the 3 questions together. For every particular question, you have the word limit down here at the right-hand corner. It will show you how many words you're typing. For the first one, first person, Daya is saying, I'm looking for a job. I've answered 6 advertisements and I've come up with 2 interviews so far. Can you tell me about your experience of looking for a job? Now, if you're trying to answer that question, what would your answer be? Daya is giving a situation about herself that she is looking for a job and she has answered 6 advertisements and had 2 interviews so far. Now Daya is asking, can you tell me about your experience of looking for a job? So if you have to write an answer to this, how can you do so? Can you very quickly type an answer in the chat box? Okay, I'm sure you're having a go at one of the answers. All right, let's have a look at the second question. The second question is from Ellis. And Ellis is saying, I have an interview at a job. Sorry, I have an interview for a job. Okay, an answer is coming in true. Let's have a look. Digital advertising, also known as online advertising, is a form of marketing used by companies to promote their brand, product, service through digital channels, consisting of actions and web browsers, social media pages, bloggers, apps, or other forms of contact through internet. Very interesting. Can you tell me, does this answer the question? Can you tell me about your experience for looking for a job? What is your experience? Whatever answer you have given over here, that is a kind of off track for the question. It's not directly related, but thank you for answering the question. I've got another answer. I've been searching jobs both in online and offline platform. However, I've gone through multiple interviews and got positive responses from a company, but I'm looking for something best. Yeah, that is more likely. This is more likely to the question that is being asked. And that is your experience, because the question, the content word over here is experience, and you did mention about your experience. Can we expect to get the recorded? Yeah, you will get the recorded sessions as well. Don't worry. For me, it wasn't so hard to get a job as I was job I was looking for. I just visited the institution with my CV. Then I met the principal. After that, I was asked to draw something, and then I had to sing a song. Finally, I got the job. That's very interesting. A very interesting answer for the question, and it's quite relevant. Can you tell me about your job experience, the experience of looking for a job? Very good. This is more like it. Thanks for asking. I also received 3 confirmations. Next week, I must have to visit. Next week, I have to pay a visit. I'm pretty sure about getting one. Well, that is also very interesting, very nicely framed. The sentence structures are okay. So that is how you're going to teach your candidates. You need to focus on the question and see what is the content word and how can you go about it. Now, the second question says, it's from Ellis. I have an interview for job at an office. I have had an interview. It's my first job interview, and I want it to be a success. Can you give me some advice? So Ellis is asking you to give an advice as it is her first job and what she should do. So the main question over here is asking for advice, giving some advice to Ellis. So if you can try and give an advice to Ellis very quickly, you can work on that. Very interesting. So what kind of advice can we give Ellis? Okay, I'm sure you're getting true to that. Some advice. Yeah, wonderful. Be on time, get well dressed and confident. Enough, don't go off topic. Just wonderful. Very nicely said. Very nice advice. So you see, you're actually focusing on the question. Some advice to give to Alice, and you have given the advice. That's very nice. Wonderful. And that's how you should focus the question to the candidates and tell them to answer. If you wanna take my advice, then just looking forward, um, just looking forward, your aim, you have to do your best interview and prove that you're the best for the post. Now over here, this answer is okay, but there are some things that we need to take into consideration. First of all, this is a writing task, and the writing task needs to have proper sentences. Now, if you're writing it just to save time, that's okay. But in the actual writing, refrain from doing that. Don't use shorthand. You can use contracted words, but not shorthand. Like you have to spell it out and not wanna. You don't go for slang language. Then the word using a capital in the middle of a sentence there has to be some reason for doing that. Over here there is no reason for that, so we refrain from it because punctuation is looked into as well. But yes, wonderful, thanks for answering. You can be concerned about something such as wearing formal dress, be confident while answering questions, behave in a polite manner to achieve a positive impression. If you don't know any answer of the question, tell them politely. Wonderful. Very nice advice to give the candidate. Wonderful. In my experience, securing a job interview itself is hard these days, let alone getting assigned in one. But there is no result without effort. Therefore, my suggestion would be to try both online, offline searching in order to acquire job opportunities. Wow, that is a very, very intense advice. This is an interview. Before an interview, if they want it to be a success and you want some advice, so you're giving a very, very intense advice. Wow. Okay. I can give you some advice because I've had an experience. You are on time, dress formal, and maintain office decorum always. Yes, that's nice advice. Just if you want, just saving my time. My advice for you is to be confident. Besides, you can focus on related field and have some insights. Okay, that's good. I must say you have to be yourself, be confident. Moreover, be calm and answer directly. Always maintain eye contact with the examiner. Okay, yeah, that could be a nice one, nice advice. So you're very much on track. You know what you have to give your candidates and how you can extract things from them. And the final question from Milja says, some people say that work experience is sometimes more important than a qualification. What is your opinion? Again, I am not going to ask you to write the answers to this one. I'm sure you know how to extract that from your candidates. And it's all about opinions. So there could be different ranges of opinions. And as you see, all the three questions are on work. So part 4, this would be a situation where the theme would be the same and the three questions would be based on that particular theme. So that is how you should focus on it. Okay. And advice one can give is to be confident. Manual punctuality is another thing to remember. Wonderful. Very good. Very good advice. Now, in part 4, which is a social network conversation, these questions are pretty simple. These are very pretty simple questions, but here as well as part 2 and 3, try to use a range of interesting grammar vocabulary and stay within the word limit and time limit. This is very important from part 2 to part 4. Okay, for the marking part, these responses to the questions are on a social network site or platform. So this section you are assessed of your B1 level, and the areas you're being assessed on is task fulfillment. This means if you're answering the question completely or partially or even not addressing it at all, that is task fulfillment. Then topic relevance. Answer the question without moving from the topic or using language that is not necessary. That is also being looked at. The topic reference. Punctuation, using capital letters, commas, full stops at the end of sentences, correct use of question marks. Very important. Punctuation is highly looked into. Definitely grammatical range and accuracy is there, where your use of tenses, structures relevant to the question, verbs and nouns should agree. Good use of countable, uncountable nouns, articles, determiners also provide accuracy. So there is a range of things that is being marked in the last part. Vocabulary range and accuracy, definitely using the appropriate vocabulary to explain. And finally, cohesion. For your answer to be cohesive, you will only need to have you linking words, pronouns, and other referencing words like these, those, that, this. Those are important, and that will be highly looked into, and the marking would be done likewise. Now, how do you teach part 4 in class? What different strategies can you use to teach students write interactive paragraphs? Can you come up with strategies? Can you type in the strategies in the box? How can you teach students write interactive paragraphs? The questions will be there, but how can you teach them? Because writing 30 to 40 words is definitely a paragraph. A paragraph consists of more than one sentence, so you're writing about 3 or 4 sentences. How can you implement this in class? How can you make what should you consider when you're teaching a paragraph to the students? Okay, let's have a look at, all right, thank you, it's coming true. First, you need to go through the question and try to understand what to answer. Very important. That is a very important point you have written. Then use brainstorming process and process to select the appropriate ideas to write your answer. Very good, wonderful. Another response is select various topics, writing keywords, organizing them, writing in paragraphs using correct form of tenses and linking words. Of course, very important. You need to do that. You need to teach them that. Try to describe the theme of the paragraph using your knowledge about the topic. Of course, that is also very important because you've seen in part 4, the theme remains the same, but the questions are different. And the questions from the questions, you need to actually address them accordingly. So it cannot be a generalized theme. You need to go according to the theme. Now, what I have for you here is you have to be very concise and focused when you're writing. Okay. All right. In the first place, you need to understand the question, answer them, and keep a word limit using linking words. Okay. Yes. You need to keep and keep in mind the word limit and time, definitely, and linking words, very important. Yes, you have to go straight to the point. and do what has been asked, what you have been asked to do. Go straight to the point and do that. And then follow the following steps. These following steps will give you guidelines. You talked about brainstorming. Yes, brainstorm the information. Then write a topic sentence. Introducing the question, you write a topic sentence. Organize your information. Write the relevant details, whatever is important. Think about a closing sentence, because you can write up to 4 sentences, 3 to 4 sentences. So easily you can have a closing sentence. After that, write and revise your draft paragraph, proofread your paragraph. So maybe if you follow these steps, it will teach your candidate how to go ahead writing the different paragraphs. Very important. Now, some tips for writing paragraph. Some fun ways of writing paragraphs. First, you choose engaging topics. Select topics that resonate your students' interest and experience. So when they're passionate about the subject, writing becomes a fun adventure. And that is very important. Topics like travel, very interesting. Topics like weather, very interesting. Topics like school, very interesting. So choose something that will raise interest in your students, and then you get to know them. Group discussions are very important as well. You can foster collaborative learning through these group discussions. Encourage students to brainstorm ideas together before their individual paragraphs. This not only enhances their writing, but also develops teamwork and communication skills. So everything, this is a multitasking way. So if you put students in a group of maybe 3 or 4 and give them ideas, give them a topic and let them talk about it, and they decide what to write in their individual paragraphs. So that will help as well. And another one, use story starters. That is, you provide students with intriguing story starters or opening sentences to kickstart their paragraphs. This can be another exciting way to have their creative juices flowing. So which is, you just give them an intriguing story, or you give them an opening sentence, and then they complete the paragraph. That could be another way, another activity to teach paragraph writing. And finally, creative writing exercises. You can do this like what if scenarios. These exercises make writing feel like an enjoyable game. So these are 4 different fun ways of writing paragraphs, activities that you can use with your candidates in the classroom, and encourage them to come up with a very short paragraph of 30 to 40 words, which means about 3 to 4 sentences max, not more than that. Okay. Now part 4. Part 4 is a B1 level, where overall listening comprehensions and skills are targeted. Over here, they can write straightforward, connected text on a range of familiar topics within their interest by linking a series of shorter discrete elements into linear sequence. So the key skills that are being looked into here are interactive writing, responding to a series of written questions with short paragraph level responses. Okay. Now, for paragraph writing, what should you consider? That is, what are they trying to test the candidate? They're trying to test the candidate that if they're answering the question relevantly and completely, that is the first thing that is being looked into. Then the control of their grammatical structure. When they're writing sentences, are they grammatically correct or not? Are they attempting complex structures? Sufficient vocabulary. Do they have enough vocabulary for the question? Is it okay? Are they creating a linear sequence of events using cohesive devices? So that is very important. So what's the genre? The thing is online chat. It's a discussion forum. So you would know it's the social media form where they need to do it. And the targeted functions are describing people, job, describing likes, dislikes, habits, routines, past experiences, feeling, emotion, attitude, hopes, plans, expressing opinions, agreements, disagreements. That is the targeted function for paragraph writing as well. Okay. Now, for the marking scale, as I mentioned, it is B1 and above. So if I look from the top part, for B1, 2, that is higher in intermediate, responses to all 3 questions on the topic show the following features. What features? Control of simple grammatical structures. Errors occur when attempting complex sentences. That is okay. Punctuation and spelling mostly accurate, and errors do not impede understanding. That is, whatever they write, in spite of their punctuation and spelling, it will be understood. Vocabulary is sufficient to respond to the question, and use simple cohesive devices to organize responses. So if a candidate's writing has these points, straight away that candidate will be awarded a B1-2 level. For B11, what's the slight difference? The slight difference is here responses to 3 questions, but over here responses to 2 questions. And the show almost the same grammatical, almost the same features as the top one. The B12 is for 3 questions, B11 is for 2 questions. If we are going a little bit below pre-intermediate level, not fully on the topic, maybe grammatical structure is limited to words and phrases, not complete sentences, errors in basic patterns and basic grammar structures which impede understanding, that is, we don't understand, little or no use of accurate punctuation, spelling mistakes are common, vocabulary is limited to very basic words and personal information, and it is not sufficient to respond to the question. So if these points are seen, that person will be awarded an upper pre-intermediate. For a pre-intermediate, respond to 1 question and on the topic, just 1 question, and a similar structures as the top is noticed over here. Similar, 1 or 2 are different, but most of them are similar. Below A2, performances below A2 or no meaningful language or responses are completely off topic, that is memorized script or guessing. So if that writing falls under this criteria, definitely it is going to be A1 or below A2. That is how the marking scale is defined. Now, some of the inspiration for your lessons, we have social media post, online introductions, online course introduction, writing activity, and a chat. So if we can go into that, we're looking at social media post, and this is A1 writing. Again, you do the preparation tasks. In the preparation tasks, you get to have different information about the words and the meaning, definition, like for tasting, for food or drink tasting, very good. What type of word would that be? So you come up with the correct word. So this is teaching vocabulary and with the correct way of doing it. And then you go for the reading text. And in the reading text, which is here with a picture, you see there are different responses from different people, and then the food, and then the responses again, and then some of the tips, and you have 2 tasks. Social media task 1, and you need to fill it in with the correct word. Maybe the pronouns are up there. Task 2, what do you need to do? You need to fill it in with the correct vocabulary. What vocabulary would fit in? And task 3, you need to match the tips with an example. So you don't need to write full sentences. What would it be? Use LOL to mean laugh loud and PM to mean private message. What would it be? So these are, you have seen that what I have shown you earlier, these exercises are a little bit more advanced. So you can use this as a resource for your class. And then we have another resource over here. This is online course introduction. Again, you do the preparation tasks, how you go about the online courses, and then the reading messages. There would be message, 4 messages and some tips. All this, it comprises of reading tasks, and then the activities or the questions come in. The first task tells you to do something, and then the second task tells you to do something. The preparation task is quite important, and you need to do the preparation task before doing the reading, and then you come up with the different tasks. There are 3 tasks over here, and then you have the worksheet you can download and use in your class. So you see the introduction. What are the different ways of greeting? This is very interesting. So your candidate learns the different phrases that you use for greeting, introducing yourself, wishing people luck, and being friendly. So very, very important. Like simple, hello comes under greeting, your greeting. See you in the next lesson. You being friendly. All right, so that's how it goes. And task 2, again, you putting the words into the correct order. So word order and teaches the sentence form. And task 3. Task 3 is online introduction, whether it's true or false, and that comes from the reading task. And then we have another resource over here, and that is the writing skills. On the writing skills, you can choose the different level. Even if you choose B1 level, a range of writing skills comes up for you to go ahead with your candidates. Number of lessons for you to use in your class. And then we have the final test. I'm coming to that. So that is how you can teach paragraph writing to your candidates. Some tips for the exam. The focus is on communication. So make sure you link your answer to the question. Very important. Try to use words connected to the topic. Use words which are connected. Use different sentence structures. Please do not use the SMS spelling. Very important. You will not get extra marks for writing more than the word limit, which is not, you cannot even write it there. So if you're practicing in class, very important. Look into that. Some common mistakes, not understanding the question, writing too much with poor grammar, spelling, and punctuation, not planning what to write, and then editing the writing before clicking on the next question, not using a variety of sentence structures, not writing sentences or paragraphs when needed, using SMS spelling. SMS spelling should be avoided. Please don't use it. Now, some of the summary of points for you to remember. Keep an eye on your grammar, spelling, and punctuation. Use connectors, which are linking words, to make your writing coherent. And then the next one is stay on the topic. Don't generally write about the subject. Make sure you address the question or you will lose mark on task fulfillment. Word count is important. You will lose mark on task completion if you write too many or too few words. And note, you don't have to count the words yourself because there's a word counter on the screen to show how much you have written. And some were practices, sentence practices for you for paragraph writing. And I'll take you through that. Let me finish with this. Overall writing test. So overall, for the whole task, 4 tasks, if a candidate can give information about writing matters on personal relevance using simple words and basic expressions, can write simple isolated phrases and sentences, that candidate gets the A1. For A2, they can write a series of simple phrases and sentences linked with connectors. The candidate is awarded A2. And for B1, can write straightforward connected text on a range of familiar subjects within their field of interest by linking on a series of shorter discrete elements into linear sequence, and that is when a candidate is awarded B1. So I have given you ideas about the individual tasks, how they can achieve, and then this is an overall writing tasks on what band score they might be getting. So that is the practice test. Now, before the recap, let me just show you the other website which I have just opened for you. This is a chat. And over here again, you have instructions to do the preparation task first. Again, what are the common abbreviations? That is how you match that. And then the reading. This is a simple, very much social media type of conversation. And that is it. Some top tips for writing. This is also part of the task. And you go into the exercise. You fill in the exercise, the chat. You have to type it in letter, like write the sentence again in the next using symbols and abbreviations. So that's teaching you about a chat thing, but that should not be encouraged in your writing. That is for your writing, you should use proper language, not just SMS language. Now let's go through the recap of this lesson. What have we done so far? We have seen that FET writing is 27 minutes long and it consists of 4 parts. The part 1 writing is within 5 words. Part 2 and 3 are short text writing, about 20 to 30 words. Part 4 is an interactive paragraph of 30 to 40 words, and how we can teach all the different parts in class. And we saw some practice exercises to use with the students, how we can go ahead with that. And now it's time for question and answer. And with that, I'll wish you good luck. So if there are any questions on FET writing, you can always ask me, or you can type it in the chat box, please. Is there any question? No question so far? Okay, thank you. All right. No questions so far. I can see no questions coming up. All right. If there are no questions, I would want to see you all tomorrow for speaking class, and it will be at the same time at 2 o'clock. You can get the recorded class. That's perfectly okay. You will get the recorded class. And tomorrow I will be, after the speaking lesson, I will be giving you all the slides that I've used in your workshop, as well as the recorded class, so that you can follow that and give the best to your candidate. That will be it. Tomorrow definitely we will have speaking session as well as the malpractice session. Very important. Thank you for your email address. I've already got your email address. I shall send you the link for the recorded class as well, along with the slides. So you don't have to worry. It will be given to you in your email. So you just need to wait for tomorrow's session to be over, and then you will get all the materials. In the meantime, all the other materials have been provided to your centers. So please check with your centers and check with the IT so that you can have that. Okay. Thank you very much. Yes, I think I've got your email addresses. I've collected them over the first 2 days. I'm sure I've got them all. If there are no questions, I would like to say goodbye for today. Allah Hafiz, and we shall meet tomorrow.
Allah Hafiz, ma'am.
Yes, do you have any question?